Alright, so this is my, I guess, first attempt at a YouTube DIY video here. Probably one of the dumber things I've done all day, if not all year. Hey, but hey, it's only February, the year's young. So I've been having issues with my window here. It likes to go down just fine. You can hear it, seems to be good. But when you come back up, you can hear it kind of struggles, and maybe it'll even do it this time for me here. Oh, that time it actually went up, but typically it'll go up about halfway, 3/4 of the way, and it'll just give up. Maybe go back down a little bit. So I tried the typical reset auto window trick. If you're not familiar with that one already, you bring the window down. Here's my control here. Bring it down. You got to be at least halfway down. I usually take it all the way down. And you bring it up. I've heard some people say, you know, you have an auto option. If you click partly, then you get manual. If you click all the way, then you get the auto. I've heard some people say you have to do the manual version of the up, but I've been successful so far with the auto version. But either way, you let it go up, and this may be hard to demonstrate. Oh, there you go. So now you got my problem. It won't go up all the way. Either way, for the other trick, you make it go up all the way, and once it hits the top, you keep holding the switch for another 3-4 seconds, and that resets the automatic function. That's something you have to do if you pull out the battery or disconnect the regulator or any of the switches or anything like that. That's a technical service bulletin that Altima's released. I found a number of websites that mention that one in my Googling for my own problem here. Well, my problem, as you can see, is it doesn't like to go up all the way. So I took apart the door. I figured I'd do a little instruction manual here on how to do that, since that's what I learned today. And you can see here, this is what the door looks like with it off. There's the panel. Sorry, I'm holding my own phone camera here. The panel just fits on like that, and there's a bolt under here. You take off the little piece of panel right there. Sorry, it's under the light, and that fits into that little bolt right there. And you take out the big panel for the control panel for the light switch, and that looks just like this piece here. You're probably familiar. It kind of sits right about here, and you just want to kind of pry it along the left edge here gently. As you can see, there's snaps that hold it in, and once you get that off, you can kind of pry these pieces. They just fit right on in here. And there's little snaps on the side of that as well. I guess I need 2 hands, 3 hands here for this. Little clips right there that just snap right on into these clips here. Pry them gently, especially if you're in the cold. The cold makes the plastic very brittle here. So both of those pieces, the window and door control and the window lock, come out separately from the rearview mirrors. Once you get those out, you're going to want to pry off this piece here. Now, I'm holding this up and you're wondering, where in the heck did that come from? Well, that corresponds, as you'll see, to that strip right there. It fits right along in this groove. Once you get the window control panel out, then you're going to see on the inside, sorry, not enough hands, these little metal clips, and you can see fit right in there. You're going to be able to, from the top side, see them, and you can see they kind of pinch a little bit. I ended up down here prying it out, and unfortunately, as you can see, I've broken one of the snaps. I can't get my camera to focus here, but anyways, there's 2 snaps, one there and one that's supposed to be there, and I snapped that one off. So be very careful with that, obviously. Your color may be different here if your car, but mine's silver. So under there, you're gonna get this hole here, and there's a bolt that fits right down in there, and that corresponds to this piece here. Let me zoom out here. So really there's just 2 bolts holding the whole door on, this one and this one. This one's under the handle, fits in this hole here, and this bolt here corresponds to this hole here. You'll see around the car there's little other holes, like that one, this one, all around the door frame here, and those correspond to these little plastic nails, I guess you call them here. Frankly, that's probably about the dumbest part about my whole trip here. Last time I pulled apart a door, I ended up breaking every single dang on one of these things. Of course, that car was about 10 years older than this one is. This one's only about 5 years old, and that one was about 15 at the time. But you may end up having to run down to a dealership or a auto repair store finding the replacement for these. My experience with the advanced auto and whatnot of the world is that it's very difficult to find exactly the right replacement. Luckily, in my case, it doesn't look like any of these are broken. But those just easily pry out, snap out, and I've seen some people, they have specialty tools that'll pry them. You kind of wedge it under here like a pry bar, and it pops the doodad right out. But there you have the door removal. Oh, I completely forgot. This last piece right here is the light that corresponds to this piece right here. You just pry it out. You see it's gonna look like this from the bottom of the door. See if I can pull that without destroying anything. All the way at the bottom of the door here, it just pries out from the top, not the bottom. And once you get that off, just disconnect a little, is it called a Molex? I'm not sure for these cars or not, but disconnect a little wire connector here and pull that off. And so when you finally get those bolts and these snaps all disconnected, the door is kind of just going to fall off. You may have to lift it up off of this little seam here real quick. Alright, sorry, just nice and gently, and be very careful. Make sure that you get the what do you call them? Sorry, the cable pieces. These are going to have to fit through the little control panel here. That's why you have to pull them out of the main control panel frame there, along with this light here. I guess you could probably wedge this through the hole, but it's easier to just disconnect it. So yeah, those 3 connectors are going to have to, 1, 2, 3, go through the holes on the door. And once you get it off, you discover that you can do absolutely nothing with the window. You can't see the regulator arm at all. It is hidden behind the metal panel here. I don't think that I care to go far enough to take that off today. Dinner date with the wife and all in a couple hours here. So I'm going to wager this is probably here is the motor for the door, and you know, good old couple $100 to replace them. I don't think I'll be doing that today either. I guess I can show you that it's interesting that they got mechanical locks here. I guess they still do that these days. If that sounds like a dumb comment, that's because I know absolutely nothing about cars, and I'm just pulling stuff apart and telling the world what I found. Typical duct tape handyman style. So, there you have it. putting the door back on. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to wager it's just the reverse operation. I'm going to stick the pieces back through the door, wire included, and I'm going to gently rest the door on top of this seam here, and then I'm going to probably snap the snaps in place and then do the bolts. Maybe I'll change my mind and do the bolts first and then the snaps. Then of course you got the two little wonderful covers. This piece here, which fits into the handle, right, just right in there. There's a when you pull the door open here, at the bottom corner, there's going to be a pretty obvious place to put a flathead screwdriver to pry that piece off. So if you're wondering how to get that thing off in the first place, very gently pry it off. As you can see, it's just 3 snaps, and this corner here corresponds to that corner there. Reverses, just snap it back in, starting with the upper right hand corner over here. And I'm not sure about our wonderful little silvery piece of doom here, but it's got 4 metal snaps and 2 plastic snaps, so I'm just gonna, or I guess 4 snaps, there's 2 over here as well. I'm just gonna wing it. Same thing for the control panel. Once I got everything done, snap the switches back in, and then snap this in, starting with this top end here, since that's a bit sturdier piece. Yeah. Camera, hello? Adjust, maybe? No, we don't like to adjust. Okay. Anyways, you're gonna snap in this top corner here first, and then seat it in from the bottom. That is about it. Best of luck to you in your wonderful endeavors here.